Jordan lost at Uno and he threw the card on the table and he left into his room. Then we knew that we had a really competitive rider. We have to use the power of the group for individual performance. And Gavin said, okay, what's the price for Loic's contract? And I said, there's no price. Yeah. He came back 2 hours after. He said, okay, I can do a big offer. What's the price? And I said, no, Loic, ask him, but Loic will never leave the team. And
Laurent Delorme, welcome to the Downtime podcast. How are you today? You've just flown back in from some time out in California.
yeah, I'm just back from California and we visited some partners and yeah, I'm going pretty well. Super happy to be part of the podcast.
Excellent. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. We've been trying to make this happen for a little while now, so I'm super keen to sit down and pick your brains on quite a lot of stuff. But before we do that, where does your interest in mountain biking come from? Like, when did you get into riding and racing?
Um, I was a kid. I was in love with BMX, and I did some racing a bit. Then like a super low level, and it was just the first contact with two wheels. And then as soon as a mountain bike came into Europe, then had the chance to buy my first 24-inch Raleigh bicycle, and then it started like that. I was more a mountain bike fan than a proper racer, but yeah, since day one on two wheels, I was super addict.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And what about the education side of things? Like, did you see yourself working in mountain biking in sport, like from a young age? How did that come about?
No, not at all. I think I've got kind of a dream job. Then this job, you can't study for it, and I did a general study to a university. Then university, I did science, sport science for 5 years. Then economy of sport, and step by step during the university, I was intern and I did some really good internship for mountain bike World Cup in France in Vars,
Ah,
and I also started an internship and worked with Taillefer Bicycle.
mhm.
Then it was Christian Taillefer, the crazy French rider, who created his own brand. And then I was intern for the last year of economy, and I started like that. I was not at all I was not thinking at all about making that as a job, but step by step, it turned as a proper job. Then, yeah, it was a start. I wasn't expected. I wasn't expected that, but yeah, it was a start in the mountain bike industry like that.
Yeah, definitely. And you found your way into marketing roles within the mountain bike world. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, after the internship, I started as a communication and marketing manager for a French brand called Q Bikes.
Hmm.
And from day one, my dream was to create what I called a World Cup team. And then we started to sign riders and riders like Camellini, Julien Camellini, Cyril Lagneau, and it started like that for at Q Bikes. And then step by step, we built a proper World Cup team, downhill World Cup team.
Yeah, tell us about that then. How did you go about putting that together, that downhill team, for the first time you did it?
Yeah, then year one at Q Bikes, we had some riders under contract. There were BMX rider for cross rider, and my goal was to create a big boom because the brand was brand new, and the brand was in charge of mass market product also for supermarkets. Then they had a brand called Quantum, and it was for supermarket. And I said we have to be disruptive and we have to break this image, and then we have to go the highest level. And for me, the highest level was Formula One. Then it was downhill. And I told to the boss, I said, okay, let's go for a big budget, but I think we have to sign World Cup riders. And Cyril Lagneau was at the end of his Maxis contract,
Hmm.
and he was available. Then we signed with him, And we also signed Julien Camellini, who was out of contract after a GT contract. Then we started like that, and we the goal was to prove that the brand had a lot of background, had a lot of knowledge, and then we decided to develop our own bike. And then we started like that, year one with three frames. And at the beginning, that was not super durable frames, and we had to improve that. And in year two, year three, we started to sign super fast riders like Damien Spagnolo, Michael Pascal, Emeline Rago, and it started like that. Then Q-Bike started, and it was 2 years of a super simple bike. And then in year three, year four, we show up with a really good frame. It was single pivot frame, but I was a good one, good looking, and we started to have good results with this frame.
Yeah. So would you consider yourself team manager at that point, or were you more like in a marketing role within the brand with someone else kind of running the team? How did the setup work?
At the very beginning, when we signed Cyril Lagneau, he was supposed to be a rider, and then he was in the time of his career when he started to push to the limit. Then I asked him to be the team manager, and he was the strong face of the well-known face of the team. Then he was the official manager, and I was the guy who negotiated all the contract and being sure that they had all the resources and all the right products around them to perform. Then it was not a proper role of a team manager because I was more at the office making sure that they've got the budget and also planning all the trips. And Cyril was on site and was the, how to say, on ground manager.
Okay, makes sense. But you then, I think you had an opportunity to take on more of a team management role with Lapierre, right? How does the move to Lapierre come about?
After 5 years at Q-Bikes, then I'm from the south of France, and what I did with Q-Bikes, it was in the very top north of France. And I wanted to come back close to the family and close to my roots. And I had the chance, because my wife, she's a flight attendant, and she had the chance to move to a long travel, only long travel and long trip. Then we were able to move back to France, to south of France, and we decided to move. At the beginning, I was supposed to be randomly the communication manager for Q-Bikes. But Gilles Lapierre, the owner of Lapierre, he heard that Cyril and I were moving out of Q-Bikes. And then he said, okay, let's discuss and let's start to see if you are able to run the program for us. And we had already on board the car brand Saab, and we had Salomon also. And Saab and Salomon, even if I was not employee, but they said, okay, we keep supporting you, and no problem, we keep investing in the team. Then instead of doing the Q-Bikes Saab Salomon, we started to do the Lapierre Saab Salomon team for Gilles Lapierre, and that was also the beginning in 2007 when I started Pure Agency, my own company.
Yeah. So was that in that early days? Was that your company running the team for Lapierre, or was it a Lapierre factory team that you were managing? Like, how was that set up?
From day one with Lapierre, it was through my company Pure Agency. I call that company, but it's officially registered. But at the very beginning, it was not a lot of people, and everybody just as a subcontractor. Then it was I run my own business since 2007, and since we moved to Lapierre, but it was really small at the very beginning.
Yeah. So how do you go about putting together all the necessary infrastructure at that point in time? I guess you had that Saab Salomon link, which was obviously super helpful, but there's a lot of stuff to kind of get in place, I guess, to run a World Cup team, even more so now probably than there was then, but still a lot of work to be done. How did you pull everything together to get a season ready to go?
The goal was to find a proper office because there is a lot of time at the office to plan everything, to organize everything, to book everything. There is a lot of legal side also that we have to take care of. Then I wanted to have a proper office, and in the same time, I was looking for a proper place to storage and workshop to be able to build the bikes and everything. Then around Avignon, I found that, and I started with a real office where I was able to welcome partners and where I was able to do meetings. And in the same time, we had a storage. It was not a super clean one, and it was not big enough, but it was the right place. We rented at the beginning to store all the products, all the wheels, tires, and also for all the vehicles, because that was also the time when we had the big truck, and then we started like that, and now since 4 years I found a proper space, a really clean warehouse where we have workshop, where we have everything, the facilities, and then we can organize from this place. But yeah, at the beginning that was on two sites, and that was like that. We had some random people coming, the mechanics coming in to build the bikes and also to organize the stock and the storage. Then we started like that.
Yeah, so straight into running things at a pretty high level, and you had some big names on that team. I think, did it start with, was it David Vasquez and Danny Hart that you started with on Lapierre?
Exactly, exactly. We wanted, it was the same as when I started Q-Bikes. We wanted to create a bang, and then we started with David, who was still at the highest level, and then Danny Hart as a junior. And from day one, Danny was really impressive as super confident and super easy with all, like the new generation of riders, super easy to jump big things and super yeah, able to do tricks. Then yeah, from the beginning with Lapierre, it was a really strong team.
Yeah, impressive. And throughout the years as well, you had some amazing people on that roster. Emmeline Rago, I think, who you'd worked with in the past. You signed Sam
Yeah.
Blenkinsop, which was a huge name, still is, and latterly Loic Bruni as well. Like, what was it for you? I guess you come from the same part of France, like the
Mhm.
southern area of France as Loic does. But what did you see in Loic in those early days that made you want to sign him?
Loic was already a special character, a special one. He was a super good kid, super talented, and he was well known because of his dad. And at Lapierre, then what we started with a strong junior and a strong elite rider, I wanted to keep doing the same with every time. Then Loic was on the short list, and at Lapierre we had no limit. It's not because the team was in France that we had to sign a French rider, but Loic was one of the super strong youth rider, and I met him and his dad at Mega Avalanche in Alpe d'Huez, and I was racing there, and I saw him, and he was already with all the crew of friends like Guillaume Cauvin and Loris Vergier, Mathieu Galéan, a lot of people who were World Cup racer or people who are still involved in the World Cup racing, and he was with all the group of guys like that. And I came and I said, I know that you already have some contacts for next season as a first year junior, but I want to be sure that you will consider the offer I will do because we have a really good plan for you. And then I met his dad, and it started like that.
Yeah, and you brought Loris onto the program as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Loris came 2 years after because Loic is 2 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Loic was on board, and Loris was on board. They are super good friends. They live they are born in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, in this program we had really talented riders.
Yeah, definitely, you really did. I want to talk a little bit, and I think we'll come back to this because there's a bit of a theme here. But I wanted to talk about managing rivalries within the team,
Uh-huh.
and obviously, I think Loic came in probably in his own words as a real fanboy of Sam Blenkinsop. Like he really looked
Yeah.
up to Sam, and I think he sees Sam as someone that helped Loic almost become accepted in the sport as a French rider, which at the time wasn't the case. Like there was almost this outsider thing surrounding some of the French riders. I think off the back of Nico and Fabian and these people that were really, really serious about things at the time, which maybe didn't wash with the other riders. But as Loic was in the team for a time, like he really started to challenge Sam, and I'm guessing that it's inevitable that some sort of rivalry forms. How, in that instance, how do you manage that situation? Like, how do you deal with a rider who's suddenly gone from being one of the best to getting threatened by the sort of junior rider that's on the way up?
Yeah, and also at the beginning they had the same mechanic. It was Jack Roux who was in charge of Sam and Loic. Then at the very beginning it was, how to say, Sam was super proud and super happy to have Loic coming in. And when Loic came in, we also had Cameron Cole on board. Then I think Cameron was more the older brother, and then he tried to explain what to do, what to not do. And Sam was instantly like the older brother, but more to enjoy the life and do some crazy things and teach him how to enjoy the life.
Yeah.
And as you said, Loic was super fan of Sam, and it's certainly the reason why he signed with us, because it was his idol, and he said, "Okay, I have the opportunity to sign with my idol, then let's go." And then this pool of riders, Cam was not supported by the same mechanic, but Sam and Loic they were. And year one, Loic was already super fast, and he kicked a bit the ass of Sam. Then it was super funny because Sam is a really competitive rider, and he wanted to keep the leadership. Then they started to poke and to make some joke, and that was good. And for me, that was not the easiest part of the job, and that was not the easiest part of the management, because they had the same resources, they had the same contact point as Jack.
Yeah.
Then Jack wanted to bring the data acquisition, and it worked pretty well with Loic, and it was not a success for Sam, for example. Then it was a bit hard at the beginning. Now, to be honest, managing three riders who are able to win, it's super easy because they all have their own mechanic. Then they can create their pool of performance, and they can have access to me. I'm just trying to provide them resources. I'm just trying to offer them the best ingredients, and then they pick what they want to use, and they manage how to cook it, how to make it happening. But at the beginning, to be honest, it was not the super easy to manage that. And because of Loic and Sam, I can say they love each other, and then they respect a lot each other. Then it was they were a rival, but I was okay. But I think with different riders, it would have been a big problem.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that's a lesson learned then, to separate off those groups and give them, like you say, give them their own resources. Is that something that you feel is one of the key ways to manage that now? That's something you'll always do within your teams. Was there a fight over who got Jack, or were you not giving that as an option?
The problem is that Loic in year one and year two of junior, he was already super fast, and he did 2 podium. Then I think it was a kind of a natural move, and also Sam not struggled a bit, but he had some hard time also in terms of performance. And then step by step, it was on a natural way that Loic became kind of the leader, and then had the full support of Jack full time.
Yeah, which has proven to be super valuable. The team had a lot of success. I think you went on to take the #1 team and the overall in 2014, along with junior world champs with Loris. And then Loic took the 2015 Elite World Champs win for you in Valnord. How does it feel as the team manager to start getting that level of success?
To be honest, you always look for the better spot. Then as soon as you have your riders qualifying for the final, then you want them to be 20. As soon as they are top 20, you are looking for the top 10. And when they are top 10, you are looking for the box with the top 5. And then it never ends. Then there's no limit, to be honest. And even if there is one top spot, but we are still looking for this one. Then it was super good, but in the same time, you don't realize that you step up the game and you step up the performance because you never had to focus on better. Then it was not like a proper plan. I can't say that we did a meeting and we said, okay, instead of looking for the top 20, we go for the win. It's not like that. It was more a process and working with all the right people around me also helped me to grow, to step up. And then you don't realize, you don't plan that. It's more a natural process.
Yeah, fair. And it's incredible success up into that Elite World Champs in 2015. But then at the end of 2015, Lapierre decided to change focus. I think Enduro was more kind of where they wanted to focus their effort. What was that like from your perspective? Because you've built this incredibly successful team. These riders have benefited massively from it. And then suddenly you're sort of left without a title sponsor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was during the 7th year of partnership with Lapierre, and the owner of Lapierre, Gilles Lapierre, came to me and said, Laurent, we will have to make a decision because road cycling also is asking for more budget, and the enduro was there, but to be honest, it was not big investment, and road cycling was pushing. And he said, I'm not anymore the only to decide because Lapierre is part of Axel Group, and the group will certainly push to focus on the road cycling. Then, if there is any opportunity, let me know, and we'll try to find a way to end the partnership. Then it was super fair, and I still owe him a lot because he was super honest. And it offered me the chance to start talking with other brands. And Specialized was looking for signing Loic, but not a team because they had already their own team with Troy.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke also with other different brands. And Specialized was keen to sign Loic, and they came to me in Andorra, the sports marketing manager. I think it was Gavin Noble. And Gavin said, okay, what's the price for Loic's contract? And I said, there's no price. Yeah. He came back 2 hours after. He said, okay, I can do a big offer. What's the price? And I said, no, Loic, ask him, but Loic will never leave the team. And but the team maybe is available. And he left. And the day after he came back and he said, can you explain me? Because I didn't understand. And I told him, okay, you see the truck, you see all the riders, you see the staff, then we can switch if you want. And we can switch to Specialized. And in 1 month, everything will be Specialized branded. And then he left again. Loic won the race, world champion. He came back to me and he said, okay, what's next to sign the whole team? And then it started like that.
That's incredible. Did you feel a lot of pressure in that instance? Because, they've had Aaron and Troy in the past. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest bike brand on the planet. No offense to Lapierre, and you had a lot of success there, but Specialized is kind of on another scale, I would say, to a brand like Lapierre.
Yeah, and Specialized is a winning machine. Then you know that when you sign Specialized, you have to be on top. If you are not at the highest level, you are not what they are looking for, and then you know that it's gonna end. Then it was a lot of extra pressure, and especially also because we discussed in the same time with 2 other brands, and it was our choice because I had my own feeling, but I wanted to make that choice, that switch with all the key player in my team. And then everybody was a bit involved, and then everybody told me that Specialized was one of the best option. And then for me, it was tricky because it was kind of a dream. For me, I always said to my friends, if I have to buy a bike, I will buy a Specialized. And if I pay big money, I will. It's gonna be for a Specialized one. Then it was kind of a dream for me, but in the same time, I was aware that it was extra pressure and it was top spot only. Then yeah, it was extra pressure, but a lot of also happiness. Then it was something to balance.
Yeah, worth taking the risk, clearly. Was it when you
Yeah.
made the move to specialize that you took on Olins? Am I right in thinking that?
It was on year 2 because
Okay.
at the very beginning we were specialized rock shocks,
Hmm.
and specialized brought Olins to us and said that there is kind of an industrial project, but maybe Olins is interested to support the highest level of mountain bike downhill. Then are you keen? And Jack, the Loic's mechanic, is also my what we can say is more than a head mechanic. He's also like the technical brain leader for all the choice for the team. And Jack said, "I know the brand. They are doing magic on a motorcycle on off road. Then let's let's offer them a chance to enter this business." And
Yeah.
then we did some tests, and it was at the very beginning there were not there it was a cast coming like a standard cast, but with their cartridge inside, and it was already something pretty good. And then we started like that with testing with Loic and Miranda,
Hmm.
and it was kind of a green light.
Yeah. And it's one of the things I think that gives you a bit of a differentiation from other teams. Like certainly up until fairly recently anyway, there weren't really other teams on Olins. And I think still you're the only team that has that sort of full factory support from Olins.
Yeah,
Which has got to be a good position to be in, right? Because anything these days that's a differentiator that gives you a potential advantage is worth having. It's getting harder and harder to find those things, I think.
exactly. If you want to perform, you need exclusive support. Then for me, that's the most important thing. And for example, on the tire side, we are supported by Specialized.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I love this partnership, not because it's not only because it's Specialized, but with Specialized, if we want, we can have exclusive products. And then, for example, the Cannibal we developed with the team for 1 year, we were the only team able to use it. Then it was performance, and now the tire is available. And to be honest, the tire you can buy is exactly the tire, the winning tire of all the race, Finn and Loic. Then it's a super good tire, but we had an exclusivity for 1 year, and that was great. And I think on the suspension side, it must be the same, and it must be the same on all the key departments, or all the key products on the bike. We need exclusive products because the riders they are playing with a point 0.5, point 0.2, point 0.1, and if we want to be the best, we need exactly what they are looking for. Then Olins and the support we've got from them is the best support ever, because our rider also they know exactly what they want. Then we can ask for that, and they are able to deliver it.
Yeah.
Then that's perfect.
Yeah. I guess similar with Magura as well. I mean, other riders have Magura, but you guys again seem to have sort of the factory level support. What I think there was levers developed for the riders specifically.
Mhm.
But that's again, all these little the phrase marginal gains gets used, I guess, but they're harder and harder to find. And when you look at Specialized from that perspective as a team, you guys have more than any other team out there, I think.
Yeah, we were super lucky, and all the agreement we had with all the partner, I think we signed the right one, and we have the chance to have super high level riders. Then we also have the chance to decide what partner we want to sign a deal with. Then the exclusivity, and as you said, Magura, we've got special shape of the liver. We can have internal trick inside. It doesn't mean that the base of the product is not good, but now the product is good, and you have to adapt to the style or the what the rider wants. Then that's the most important thing. There is no perfect bike. There is just one perfect bike for one rider, and that's what we are looking for. And with Specialized, it's exactly the same. The frame we've got, it's in-house produced. It's exactly fitting what the riders are looking for. And at the end, the bikes, Finn and Loic bikes, are not the same at all in terms of kinematic and feeling. Then if we have the chance, we built that, we worked hard to have that, and now we've got that, then I will never stop working like that. All the partners who are working around this team, they have to accept that exclusivity and providing exactly what the riders is looking for is the key to succeed.
Yeah, nice. And it feels like Jack and Loic's work on the data acquisition side of things is kind of leading the way within the sport, I would say. They've been at it for the longest and they seem to have a very deep understanding of it. Is that something that you've been behind, or is that something that Jack and Loic have kind of just gone away and done over the years?
We spoke a lot with Jack because that was something that, for example, Nico Vouilloz had back in the days, and he had that on his bike. And we wanted to introduce that, but we knew at the very beginning that we were not ready. The process was not clean enough. The riders we had on board, they were not precise enough because if you want to do data, you have to be really focused. You have to use the same involvement for every race, every run. You have to be smart. If you ride and crash everything, then it's impossible. Then yeah, I was at the very beginning with Jack. We thought about that, and it was Jack already had a whole data acquisition, and then we went to another supplier called Antidote. They are specialists based in France. There were two people working back in the day for Sun Bicycle or other brand or Commensal, and then they left. They created their own brand, and their brand was to support bicycle brands to develop new things. And we asked them to support us during this project, just to be sure that we bought the right product and we set it up properly. And then they provided that, and we started using it. And I was really involved with Jack because Jack at the very beginning was not in love with computer, and I was more geek than him. Then I was the computer user, and he was the guy putting the potentiometer linear on the bike and acquiring the data. And after 1 year and a half, Jack was really independent, and he was already way smarter than me on the way to use the computer. Then yeah, I helped for the beginning, and really quickly he was able to run that by himself. And then he involved step by step Loic into the process because it's super important. Loic is really smart. He was really smart student. He's a really smart person, and he was able to understand that. Then at the very beginning, no data, but step by step, Jack taught him how to read the curve and the graphs, and Loic really likes to understand. Then it was a real good process, and now these two they are super smart, and they know how to use it. Even if sometimes using data is creating more problem because you have extra mechanical part, you have wire. Now there is some wireless system, but you still have to record it. You still have to ask the rider to press button to start it. Then yeah, it's a heavy process, but it's working well with these two.
Yeah, it seems to be. And how much gets shared? Because those guys have clearly built up a lot of knowledge and understanding. How do you, as a team, approach sharing that knowledge with Kevin, Finn, and Nathan and Jordan, the other sort of mechanic rider groups?
Uh-huh. The three of them, they have data, and the three of them, they use it. then they help each other when they need some support, or they need to create a special tool, or this type of little details. Except that on the analyzed part, it's up to each mechanic to analyze the graph and to set up the suspension and the bike the way his rider is looking for. Because to be honest, the bike that Jordan had in Lenzerheide and he won with at the beginning of 23 season, if you give this bike to Loic, maybe he can do like a top 8, top 12, but he will not perform. And the bike is the same, but the setup is not at all the same. The linkage is not at all the same. And then the result is not at all the same.
Okay. So it relies on the mechanic rider partner to learn, but the technology and the implementation of the technology is something that gets shared across everybody. Yeah,
exactly. They've got little tips and they used to share this type of thing.
Yeah, that's cool to hear. Let's talk a bit about Finn. He joined the team in 2014, and at that point, I think was too young to race World Cups. What was it about Finn that made you want to get hold of him and sign him up so early?
Finn, it was Sam Blenkinsop. We were in Mont Saint-Anne, and Sam told me there is a super fast forerunner. It's crazy. I can't follow him in the tight corner. Then I went to the finish. I watching the guys, and then I saw him. Then I said, "Okay, you who are you?" Then he said, "I'm Finn Iles." Say, "Okay, we've got a project. I've got a team. Blah blah blah." I started to connect with him. And we spent like 10, 15 minutes together at the finish of Mont Saint-Anne. It was during training, then no rush with the race. And then he left. He spoke with his friends, came back to me and said, "Who are you?" I said, I'm Laurent, and I am managing the team, blah, blah, blah. He said, okay. Then we connected like that. And the week after, I think we were in US. I don't remember if it was Windham or somewhere like that. And Alison was there, then Finn's mom. And then we spoke again, and I did an offer after this event, and they agreed with it. And then a few weeks after, he won the whip off. Then we signed him before he was the let Finn in thing,
Yeah.
And that was a crazy start like that. And then Finn jumped into the team. A lot of confidence, super good skills on the bike, really aggressive. And we did kind of the hat trick. Super happy with that. Then every race he was with the team, but he wasn't able to be to race. Then every single lock, I connected with them to know if he was able to be a forerunner. And then he was the forerunner for all races all the year. And then he started to connect with the media, with the photographer, with other mates, with other rider. And then he became junior, but first year junior, he knew already everybody, he knew already all the tracks. And since then, all the manager, they were furious, the other manager, and they asked UCI to modify the rule. Then now it's forbidden. Now, if you want to be forerunner, you must be junior, and you must be supported by the national federation. And that we had the same problem this year with Asa Vermette.
Yeah.
And he was forerunner, but he was not junior. Then after 2 runs, then big message on WhatsApp group. Oh, blah 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 blah. He will do the same as Finn. Blah 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 blah. And then he had to stop being the forerunner for snowshoe. But that was super funny. I was super happy to see him on track, and it reminds me what we did with Finn. And at the end, I think it's smart, because if you are fast enough to be forerunner, whoever you are, if you are underage, you can ride, and it's good. And for sure, it's an advantage. But if you are good, it's always an advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that guy between the tape at the World Cups next year. And Finn, again, you've gone into this position where you've got a really top elite rider in Loic, and then you've got an up and coming fast junior in Finn. and you've got another relationship to manage, right? You've got this like Loic, I'm sure, initially taking people under his wing, helping them out, but ultimately Finn at some point becomes a threat to Loic. Again, how do you deal with that? You've got these separate pods, I guess, of like mechanic rider, so that's resolved, but they've still got to live in the same accommodation, share the truck, like all of this kind of stuff. How do you manage that over the years as it develops?
Finn was super hungry at the beginning. Then he came and he wanted to win everything, and that was cool for that. And we had when he came into the team, we also had Loris Vergier, who was super fast. Then it was a really strong team, and they were a rival. But Finn and Loris, it was under the umbrella of Kevin, and Loris is super easygoing rider, is not hard to manage. Then that was good at the beginning, really good. And I think now, to be honest, it's more a power than it's more an advantage than a disadvantage, because they are smart enough to share the right things. And for sure, if there is something special or if there is a good line, if one of the others see the line, he will not come straight away and say, okay, this line is faster. But if the other asks, he will be honest and he will tell the truth. Then they are really honest. They've got they are rival, but they help each other, and I think that's the power of the team, because they are all looking for the same spot, top of the box, but they are smart enough to help each other, because they know that they will be at the end. They will be faster if they help each other. For me, I always say we have to use the power of the group for individual performance, and I trust in that. It's super hard to build that because you need the right athletes, the right staff, but in our team, it's working well.
So is that would you put that down to luck that they work together in that way, or have you seen something in these people and understood their personalities before putting them together in a team that gives you a confidence that that's gonna happen?
Yeah, I never sign a rider I'm not confident in, and I really love my team. I love people I've got on board. Then I don't want to add a rider, even if it's a super fast rider, but I don't want to add somebody who don't fit in the team. Then for sure, before signing anybody, there is a lot of discussion with generally with the rider, with the parents or the close people around, the mechanic. Then for me, that's the key. And for sure, sometimes we are unable to sign riders, but at the end, it seems that our program is really stable. And since 16 years now, running a pure agency, then it's working not too bad. Then I trust in this type of choice, and I don't want like a little soldier coming into the team and having no rules and destroying all the atmosphere and the vibe. I
Yeah.
really need that's my focus. I really want to keep the vibe and the right productive atmosphere.
Can you can you put into words the characteristics that you look for in a young rider when you're having that conversation? Because performance is relatively easy to see, I think, compared to these more like personality traits. Like, how would you describe what it is you look for?
On the sports side, for sure, you with the time you can feel that the rider is able to ride with overspeed, and you can feel that he's able to take the right risk at the right time. Then this is the sport side, but I'm really focused on the education, the mindset, the people around the rider. If you have to connect with an agent, if you have to connect with a representative, if you connect with the dad or the mom, if you connect with the mechanic or friends, then I like being sure that I like knowing the parents. I really I really love sharing with the parents before signing anything, because at the end they are they are a lot of they are part of the mindset. And I struggled a bit with some of the parents, for example, with Danny, and we spoke a lot with that. But Paul Hart was looking for the best for his son, and he was, I think he was as good as he was bad for Danny. Then he was super good because he was looking for the best, and he was always on the back of everybody trying to improve the condition of Danny. But in the same time, he's not an expert, and he don't know everything internally, and he don't know how to run a team. Then he was kind of a disadvantage. Then this type of parents, I try to not sign with the riders, because for me that was sad to lose Danny, and that was sad to lose him because of the relationship with the dad. Then now I really care about that, and I really try to be careful and be sure that I know the atmosphere, the environment around the athletes.
Yeah. How would you think about your own relationship with the riders? Do you put a lot of effort into it? Is it different from rider to rider?
Yeah, they are. It's like kids at home. I've got 3 kids, 3 boys, and in the team it's the same. Then they have the same staff around them. It's under the same truck, but they are not asking for the same thing, and they are not focused on the same details. Then you can have some of the athletes. You can have no call for 2 or 3 weeks, and some of the athletes you have 1 or 2 message every day, and 1 or 2 call every week. Then it depends on the character. It depends on who they are personally. And then my goal is just to be sure that I am available as soon as they need me. I must be available. Then that's my role, to be sure that whatever happens during the day, during the night, if they need me, they can ask me, and they can have an answer. That's my role.
Yeah. And it must be working, right? It shows in the results, but it also shows in a huge amount of loyalty to the team, both from riders and from the brands that you work with, which I guess must make it even harder when someone steps away from the team, right? Which Loris did in 2017, I think, to join the Syndicate, which is another huge team on the circuit. And you can see why that's an attractive proposition for a rider as well. But how does that feel when someone that you've been this almost father figure to on the team, I guess, for such a long period of time, decides to fly away and go and do their own thing away from the team?
Yeah, I lost kind of a son when he left, and for me that was really rude, and I had some hard time to understand. And step by step, with the discussion we had, and with the position, and with what Loris did and what he's currently doing, I have the feeling that it was not teams related, but it was more his position with Loic in the team. And Loic is really kind, but in the same time he's the leader, and he wants to stay the leader in the program. And we can see that with Jordan, with Finn. They are all looking for the leadership in the team. Then I understood afterwards that maybe Loris felt that he was unable to compete internally and to become the leader in the team, and that's the reason why he left. If you consider what he did at Syndicate Trek Racing, maybe he did the right choice because he's performing well. He did pretty good things. I'm sure that I was able to provide him really good condition, and I'm sure that on board the results would have been a bit better. But that's just me, and we can't start back. It's a history. It's like that. And at the end, I'm happy because Loic is super strong, and is doing well in the team. Finn is the same. Then maybe if we had not the problem with Loic, it would have been with Finn. Then I'm happy that Finn is evolving super well also in the team, and then it was at the end certainly the right choice.
Yeah, interesting. And you had a pretty stable setup then for a good few years with Loic, Finn, and Chris Grice coming up through the program as well. Made a change to that more recently, bringing Jordan Williams on board. Jordan, I think, was still under contract in his previous team. How does that work? Because it's a small world. Like, how do you work through that to make sure like everyone's okay with these things?
The industry is a super small world, and I've got a lot of respect for all the other program and all the other manager. Then you can ask the other, but as soon as I start to talk to one of the rider, then the manager or the brand is aware, the other brand or the other manager is aware. Then I did that, and I just told to Jordan that if there was any chance to have him on board, he, it was important for me to know that. Then I told him that, and he said, "Yeah, I can discuss with you." And I said, "Okay, what's the situation on the legal side?" And he said, "I think, because he's not a legal expert, but he said, I think that I've got a buyout."
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, "Okay, you check that. If you've got a buyout, for me, it's a green light. Then as soon as you give me the green light, I will let Will Longden knows that I will talk to you." And that's what I did. And that's the reason why he was able to leave. It was because of a buyout in his contract. That's
Okay.
it. I didn't. Yeah, I will never hire a lawyer to go against a current contract. If the rider is under contract, I don't try to break any contract. But if there is a buyout term, for sure, and if the rider is available, and if the rider is keen to move, it's another part of the job.
Yeah, interesting. And Jordan is clearly a fiercely competitive individual, as are your existing two riders in Loic and Finn. But you've done your due diligence, I'm sure, and you feel like you can make this team culture work with these three riders. When do you start doing that work? Like, I'm assuming you don't just turn up at the first race and hope everything's going to fall into place. What things do you do through the off season when you've had a team change like that to make sure you're in, from a team dynamics point of view, you're in the best position to start the season well?
The first, as I told you, when we moved from Lapierre to Specialized, the riders and the key staff was involved. They were all involved in the choice, and it's the same when I start talking with one rider. Then Finn and Loic, they were aware, and the key staff, everybody was aware about the discussion we had with Jordan, and it's always the same when there is some change with the key staff or with people on board. There is always discussion internally. And then after, I really want to spend some time before the season with all the group. Then for Jordan and for the first step he had into the team, it was last year, and we traveled to California to discover the Specialized facilities in Morgan Hill, in Auburn, and then we had some good time also at Supercross. We went to NBA game. Then I start to connect everybody, doing mountain bike, doing cycling, but also doing other things to be sure that it's gonna fit, to feel the first fights. And for example, last year, first week all together, and we felt the competition because Jordan lost at Uno and he threw the card on the table and he left into his room. Then we knew that we had a really competitive rider, but it was also a good feeling for the other because they felt strong and they knew that they were able to make it not as stable as it seems to be.
Yeah.
And that was good. But yeah, we always spend a lot of time all together during off season.
That's good to hear. And I mean, clearly things went pretty well, right? Round one, you've got three very hungry riders, and it was an incredible race for all of us to watch. But three Specialized Gravity riders on the box for you: Finn in fifth, Loic in third, and Jordan taking the win. I guess from your perspective, like, other than taking a 1, 2, 3, things don't get a huge amount better than that. But also, I can imagine it's maybe not the easiest thing for the team to have this junior rider that's just joined the squad, only just getting used to the bike and the suspension, beating the kind of two existing factory riders. Like, how was that for you? And then how was it within the team? And how did you deal with that at the time?
First, that was really, really good feeling because we are working that hard to perform. Then having everybody on the podium, all the staff, all the riders, then it's a huge amount of really positive emotion. Then it's great to have this type of results for sure. I think the negative point was not for the internal vibe and was not for the other rider, not for Finn and Loic, because they were already aware that Jordan was really competitive. I think the hardest part was for Jordan himself, because to be honest, that was not exactly the plan I had in mind, and I wanted to have him growing and being more and more confident, and then being able to perform from middle to the end of the season. And winning the first one for him, that was like surfing the biggest wave ever. Then he did it, and then after he has been caught by the wave, and then it was a kind of a roller coaster. But at the end, it was first year with the fastest lesson ever, because he won. Then he was super high, super low. He missed some quali this year. Then I think it was the best lesson ever. For sure, that was not exactly the plan. And in sports, you can't plan everything. Then especially in downhill, it's a mechanical sport. Then you can have the weather, you can have the mechanical problem. Then you can't plan everything. But at the end, if you think about it, that was a super good lesson for him, and for the other, that was just a little pinch, little kick to say, okay, guys, now on board, you've got another fast rider. Then let's train harder and let's push the limit.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been a super interesting year for all of the team, I think. And with that, like you say, with that win comes a huge amount of pressure, an insane amount of media attention that Jordan definitely won't have experienced up until that point in time. Is there stuff you can do to help him with that side of things? I guess it's almost like the mental health aspect of riding.
Yeah, my role is to protect him, and for sure, there it was extra pressure. He was not yet able to deal with. Then I helped him to stay away a bit, to protect him, and to come back stronger. It took some time, because it's things that you have to live. It's like a world champ race run. You can't plan the world champ race run. You have to live it to understand it and try to improve it for the next one. And it's one time a year, then it's super hard. Then these type of things, how to deal with the emotion when you win, you have to experience it, you have to live it, and then based on that, you have to readjust things. Then I tried to protect him, and I think at the end of the season he understood it. And Jordan is somebody who it takes some time to have his confidence. We have to work hard to deserve his confidence. Then I think now he's super confident in the team, and he's got really good relation. And this high and low time helped me also to be able to share with him the right words, and to help him to manage that. Then that was perfect for me in terms of management. That was perfect for me.
Yeah, interesting. And you've got, I guess, a few examples in the team of different, or at least what it looks like from the outside, different levels of like hardware made available to riders. And the first one that got talked about a lot this season was Jordan being on the old version of the demo and not the new bike that Loic and Finn was on. What went into that? Was it you're the new guy, you've got to earn your stripes kind of thing, or were there other things going on behind the scenes that maybe we didn't all see?
For me, that was more a safe choice, because everything was new for him except his mechanic. He came into the program with Nathan. It was his mechanic at Madison. Then, except Nathan, everything was new. New braking system, new suspension, new tires. Then it was a lot of new things. And the 6 bar, we know it pretty well, and we know how to make it efficient. Then for me, that was a safe choice, and that was easier to have him on this bike that we know well. And there was no plan to have him on the Luck bike for the 23 season, and he knew that from day one. And we kept this plan. And just to let you know, but yeah, we are coming back from California, and he did some riding on the UBB, the Loic bike, and he's gonna be on the UBB for next season.
Ah, interesting. That would be cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Did he,
Yeah.
was that decision made on feel? Was it made by going against the clock? Like, what's driven that?
The UBB is a super, how to say, there is a super wide range of adjustment we can do on this bike.
Yeah.
Then the plan was to have him at the end of the season on it, and he did his the riding, and he's already super confident on the bike. Then that was the plan, like that, and there's no reason to step back, even if the 6 bar, yeah, will stay maybe alive in the market for the next season.
Mm-hmm.
But the UBB is a proper good choice.
Yeah.
But that was the right choice for year 2.
Okay, that'd be cool to see him on that. And then the other piece of technology that everyone talks about every week that there's a World Cup race is what's going on with Loic's bike. And I know you're not going to tell me what's going on with Loic's bike, but what I am interested in is how does it work again within the team where you've got what I guess is perceived as an advantage from technology, because otherwise you wouldn't be running it if it wasn't an advantage, when only one rider in the team has it. And I guess Loic is your lead rider, and he's demonstrated that season after season with the results that he gets. But does that ever create issues within the team where one rider's got something that the others don't have?
Yeah, we at the beginning we talked about exclusivity, and it's a bit like that also with Olins and the relationship between Olins, Jack, and Loic. They've got a super strong relation, and that was an input and an ask from Loic and Jack to have kind of evolution and option on the suspension from Olins. Then that was normal to have them on the suspension earlier than the other, and it's normal because they were the starting point. And during development, sometimes it's hard when you have to prototype one or two shock, one or two fork. It's way easier than prototyping 10. Then for me, it was normal to support them and to agree with the strategy to have just one rider on the super new things.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next future, you will see that it's gonna come for the other rider, and certainly Finn will have some evolution on his suspension. But it's not because he didn't deserve it. It's more about respecting the process we all agreed from day one. And then for sure Finn is super competitive, and for sure Finn was racing for the number 1 or number 2 overall ranking this season, meaning that he's at the highest level. But it doesn't mean that I have to change my mind and change all the industrial process and development process we all agreed 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Then we always have a plan and we follow the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And now the plan is to spread a bit the technology. Then maybe next season you will see more about what's on Loic's bike.
And so was Finn made aware from the start then that this would be like a 3-year development process? So he's already kind of bought into the fact that, like, okay, Loic's testing this thing, I'm not going to get it for a while. But again, equally, I guess there's a risk involved with it, right? Any new technology that's being proven out on the race circuit, it could malfunction. So Loic's almost, in one way, you could say he's taking one for the team, or you could say he's got a big advantage. Who knows?
Exactly. And to be honest, it's also about the skills of everybody. And Jack is not scared about electronics and welding things. And then I think it was for this time of the product and the development we did, there were the right people involved in the project.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now, as you asked, but yeah, Finn was aware about the process and he was aware about the strategy. Then as soon as everybody knows, then even if they prefer sometime one or the other option, but as soon as they know the plan, then it's easier for them to understand the choices.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a bit more about the sort of junior development side of things. You've done a lot on that throughout the years with the riders that you brought into the team. and I think it was 2 seasons ago, maybe longer, you sort of separated that junior program out and the Gen S team was founded. I guess interested to hear your thoughts on why a separate program was created, and then how you're using that program, what you're looking to do with it.
Yeah, Gen S for Generation Specialized is for me the key of the future of Specialized and the racing program. It was a program we decided to create with Specialized, not only to host and to welcome some junior rider, but also to have people who are not fitting exactly in the Gravity team. Gravity team, to be honest, when you jump into the program, you have to win. You have all the cameras on you, all eyes on you, all the focus of the partner, all the everybody is waiting for you to win the race. Then sometimes you've got riders like Chris Grice who are super talented. They need more time and they've got other skills. They are super good on the media side. They are super good on e-bike. They are super good to talk to people, and I wanted to be able to keep this type of rider on board. And then with Specialized, we decided to create Gen S, and Gen S for me is magic because currently we've got World Cup riders, Chris Grice and Isabella Yankova, but we also have super young riders, Rosa Marie Jensen, we have Harry Schofield, we have also a rider, Raphael Jambi, a French one who's racing enduro and downhill. Then with Gen S, we can have them and they can keep performing in BMX, in motocross, in downhill, in enduro. And then it's wide open compared to Gravity. Gravity has full resources, the top staff, top level support, but Gen S is more wide open. And that's the reason why I really trust in this program and I'm really involved in it. And in the same time, it offers me the chance to welcome young staff, meaning that we can have staff who will learn in the same time as the athletes, and they can grow, they can improve everything with the riders, and then it creates super strong link between the staff and the riders. And for me, that's super important because everybody is growing in the same time. And I think in 5 years, this team will be really, really strong on the international level and also on the local level. Then that's the goal of this team, and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, nice. And it seems to be going well so far. It'd be interesting to see where all of those riders end up in a few years' time. And you've got a good, strong female talent on there with Isabella. And I think I'm right in saying you haven't had a elite female on the team since Miranda left a few years ago. And you've also mentioned that you look for riders that are going to step onto the podium basically, or take wins for that Specialized Gravity team. Like, how competitive now is it trying to sign a female rider that can do that? Because there's not a huge amount of them, and I'm guessing every team wants at least one of them, right?
Yeah, right. The field of female rider is not big enough, even if there is new generation coming, but it's not big enough. And then all the top female athletes, they are already under contract. Then we were unable to welcome a female rider in the team. It doesn't mean that I don't have that in mind because with Isabella, I really trust that she can step up her game. And also we have Rosa Marie Jensen from Denmark. She's coming. She's around 14, 15 years old. She's gonna be insane. She's so talented. She's good on a jump bike. She's good on an enduro bike. She's super fast in downhill. Then we really care. I really want to have kind of the same success as what we had with Miranda, with Emeline Rago, and but it will take some time for sure because all the top girls, they are already signed.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for sure, but it'd be interesting to see just how that field progresses. It's definitely getting deeper and bigger, and hopefully the sport continues to help it grow. I want to talk a bit about high level workout racing. It feels like certainly Specialized Gravity is at the the pinnacle of this thing, and we hear that the sport's going to get sharper at the top, maybe a smaller field, all of this kind of stuff. more outside investment, hopefully over time, as you know, Eurosport have the potential to put us in front of many more eyes than we have in the past. How do you see things progressing from like a pit setup, from team facilities, hospitality, all of this kind of stuff? Like, we get compared to Formula One, but if you go to a Formula One race and a downhill mountain bike race, we're still worlds apart. But how do you see things progressing in, I don't know, like say the next 5 years?
For me, I think we can't compare to Formula One. We are more a rally or something like that because we have to deliver a show in the mountain, and we are not on a circuit. Then I was in Valencia 2 weeks ago, and for the MotoGP final, and everything is ready to welcome and to host big trucks, hospitality. Everything is flat, everything is clean. You've got water, power, you've got the wire for the TV signal. Everything is organized already. But our sport, we will never be like that. And we can't ask our sport to be exactly the same. Then, and Formula One for me is not a good example also because it's way too much disconnected to the real world. And I don't like that. I prefer MotoGP or rally. It's way better. And, I really like the idea to have the sport with a better treatment. I really like the idea to step up the game, and it doesn't mean that it's just all about the money income that the team can have, but it's more for the exposure because our sport and downhill especially, it's super easy to understand. Start, finish, time, the fastest, you understand. Then I'm pro cleaning the rules of the sport to be sure that it's going to be way more understandable with the number plates, maybe the protection rule also. I think it was good, the protection rule, to secure the investment of the partner. But now, for the external point of view, it's harder to understand. Then I think we have to make it cleaner, way more easy to understand. And as soon as we care about national, continental, local series, I think we can step up the game and have a World Cup more elite, more with less rider, with more exposure. But the key is to care about the base, then to care about the local, national, continental series. And we must secure and we must invest in this level first to be sure that we can step up the right way. Because if we go too fast and we start to step up the game too early without securing the base, in 5 years there's nothing. The sport will disappear, and whatever will be the number, the sport will disappear because if you have no new rider into the sport, then the sport's gonna end. Then for me, that's the key. We have to support local races, national races, continental races, series. And then as soon as we secure that, for me, there's no limit, and we can do a super elite program, super elite series, and it's gonna match exactly what the TV is looking for.
Yeah. Where do you see the ownership coming from for the everything below the top level? Because it's very clear that Warner Brothers Discovery own the elite part of the sport at a world level. But who, when you say we need to, like, who do you see as accountable for delivering on national, regional, continental kind of racing and talent progression?
When I say we, I am part of the we, and we, the elite team, we have to support the base. We have to be involved. We have to invest. We have to take the risk sometimes to sign new rider, to support a local club. I personally invest in a local club because I just want them to run the club, to be able to run it, and not to be sure that we will have a new Loic Bruni in the club. It's super important for me to be sure that Federation, Warner Bros, everybody, the partner, the industry, he cares about this base because that's the key of the future of the sport. Then for me, it's super important, and I do it. I can't support everybody. I can't support all the local club. I can't support all the riders, but I try to always invest and keep some budget for that. And I hope that everybody will do the same because it's super important.
Good on you. Do you think that money coming into the sport via outside investment based on higher viewing figures, hopefully, do you think that money will trickle down below the World Cup elite level and help fund a lot of this stuff? Like, do you think that's one of the things that makes this possible?
We have to create interest. As soon as there is interest, there is audience, and with audience, there is investment.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as there is money, it's just a matter of how we split, how we share, how we spread the money. But we need this money income. And in soccer, we are not soccer at all. But in soccer, when a player changes club to another, then there is some royalties back to the first club.
Yeah.
And you keep the first club of one player will still have some money income when the player will move to another club and another club and another club. I really like this idea. And we can run a super high level show, but as soon as there is money, the easiest part of the hardest part of the job is done, because after it's just a matter of how we split it. And I think in the team area, in the team, all the managers and all the brands involved, we are smart enough to know that if there is some big money income from a non-endemic partner, we have to use that not only for the top level but also for the base.
Yeah.
And for me, it will work.
And are you starting to see any signs of that and non-bike industry money starting to come in? Like, I assume that as a team manager, you get some level of information from Warner Brothers on viewing figures this year compared to previous, and that enables you to start having conversations with maybe new brands that haven't been involved in the sport before. Like, how far do you think we're off starting to see that investment level ramping up?
The media report is going to be official in few weeks. Then for the moment, I don't have any official number. And I know that they are pretty happy when I say they, it's Warner Bros. And the people involved, Chris Ball and the people involved in the program. But I know that they are happy about the numbers. For sure, the numbers will help to spread the sport and to have non-endemic partner coming in. We already have some. For example, Loic signed a partnership with Frinsa. It's a Spanish brand who's doing some food and cans. And they are supporting Jorge Prado in motocross. They are supporting Moto3 team. Then they are coming into the mountain bikes. That's super good to have them on board. I really trust that we will have some new brands coming in as soon as the number will be good, because this type of brand, they don't know well the sport. What they need is big number. And I think with Eurosport and Warner Bros., we can have this big number. For sure, we have to keep the core audience super happy, because I don't want to create a show that the core people will not like.
Yeah.
And I want to be sure that the core people will like it. But sometimes the core people, they are super slow to change their mind. And that's the problem. And for me, to be honest, I really loved what Red Bull Media House did, because for the core audience, I think they did the best job ever.
Mm-hmm.
But what Warner Bros. Is doing is that they are making the sport more accessible, and they are trying to make the sport with a bigger audience. And I really loved watching the series this year. And for example, for me, the benchmark was Unveils this year. It was top to bottom, camera everywhere, a real feeling of the speed, top section, open section, the drone following the riders, following Loic. And you can feel the speed, the height of the jump. And I really liked what they did. And I think now the sport is ready to be to open up the audience. And I really like what they did this year.
Good stuff, man. It's good to hear that. And it's going to be, super interesting to see how things progress over the next few years. There's a lot of exciting stuff ahead of us, hopefully. We're getting close to the end of our time. But before we do that, I just want to ask if you've got any advice for people wanting to go into team management or to work within a team in the mountain bike world somewhere, like what advice would you give to people?
Uh-huh. We need good people to come on board because if we want good competition, we need good brands and good competitors against to race against. Then, if some people who are not in the business they want to join, it's a good idea. The only thing is that it's not a job only. It's you must have a big heart and you must be in love with the sport because I started running a local team when I was 19 years old. And at the beginning, it was like just a fire camp, a tent. We were in Pay in France under the snow, and we had to share the money to pay the petrol for the car, and it started like that. And for sure now it's way easier. I fly. I have a van, big truck, and it's way easier. But without love of the sport, without big heart, you can't start in this sport. Then I think that's the most important thing. If you really love this sport, there is some room, there is some space for you. You can do a really good thing, but you must be in love with the sport.
Good advice, man. Yeah, definitely feel that as a very true thing for anyone really wanting to get involved. It's got to be a deep passion for you. But there's plenty of people out there that feel that way about it. So that's good. That's good for the sport. Thank you, man. It's been really interesting chatting. If people want to follow the team throughout the upcoming seasons, where's the best place for them to head? You've got a team Instagram, I think.
Yeah, Specialized Gravity, and we have got also the website. We've got a TikTok, and yeah, also the same for Genes. It's under Generation Specialized.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's also a program to care, then to take care of. Then yeah, follow us, and we still have some good crazy ideas to keep the highest entertainment.
Good stuff. I'll stick links to all of the stuff for both the teams in the show notes for this episode. But yeah, thanks for your time, Laurent. Hope you have a good rest of the off season and look forward to seeing all your riders smashing it on track in 2024.
Yeah, we are ready. Can't wait.
Nice one. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.